Da.
Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, it is Hump Day. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. It's another special edition for you kids. Oh, both Timmy and I are playing hurt today, but you know what? We just get up and go. We just get up and go, baby, because that's what we do.
Nobody wants to hear about us being hurt. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about us getting old, and nobody cares. And with that's and why should they? They got their own problems. But we got great stuff to talk about today. We got, I like days like this, Timmy, because we got a cornucopia of stuff. We got all kinds of stuff. We got a little star power mixed in, some interesting stuff going. So let me set up the show for you, kids. First of all,
let me say thank you for pronouncing that word correctly, JP.
Which one?
Cornucopia.
Cornucopia.
Instead of
if you've heard it pronounced another way.
Oh, I hear people all the time that say cornucopia. I'm like, don't you corn my anything, cornucopia.
No,
I hate when people say that.
That's cornucopia, which I believe was the original origin was a table piece. I'm not mistaken. It's like a table piece of all kinds of different stuff. It's cornucopia.
It literally means horn of plenty.
There you go. A horn of plenty.
In Greek mythology.
And they have these big horn baskets and they pour everything out and it'd be a cornucopia.
We are a virtual horn basket of sports, JP.
We are. We're horny something. We got football today to talk about. All the Bucs offensive coaches chatted yesterday. I was not able to be there because they scheduled it during my show. I can't believe they would do such a thing.
How dare them.
They're going to do the defensive coaches next week at the same time, 10:30. Just absolutely unbelievable. But did listen to a lot of the interviews yesterday, and you come away very confident in the group that is leading this team. Very confident. So I'm confident. They've got a lot of good weapons to work with offensively, but these guys got a clue. They got a really good clue. And so we're going to get into that. We got lots of sound for you there. TJ Yates, Brian McClendon, Zach Robinson, Chandler Whitmer, all these new cats. We're going to get into all that. Really good stuff. We got Rays, obviously, big comeback last night. That was, I was like watching the game. I watched it a little, caught up late because I was at a Cal Ripken event last night. Ripken spoke to my good friends at Pinnacle and Synovus. They brought him in to do a little motivational speech.
Brag.
Great player. Obviously, we love Cal. Not the most dynamic speaker.
No, not at all, man. Not at all.
I left a little unfulfilled, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Great dude, though. Great dude. That's
great
not
guy.
His strong point.
Yeah, no. Exactly. He's a regular dude. It's like he'd much rather just have a beer with that guy and talk baseball. Put him up in front of a bunch of bankers and business folks and geeks like me. Probably not his best venue, but got some nuggets. Got some ask him a stadium question. Shocking development.
Which is crazy because his brother's got one of the biggest mouths in sports. Billy.
Yes. Ripken. Yeah. Right.
I love Billy too.
I'm gonna hit. I did ask Cal that question. I'll tell you what happened.
Can't wait for
I recorded it. It wasn't worth much, so I'm not gonna play it. But anyway, we'll get into that. Big thanks though to the great folks at Synovus and Pinnacle, my good buddy John Acosta for inviting me. But yeah, it was a fun night. Saw a lot of great people. That was probably one of the best things about going to those things is just mingling with the folks and talking to people and see all different kind of people. Yeah, a lot of and of course a lot of that talk, I would say almost all of it was about the Rays in the stadium. Everybody chatting about that. So I'll tell you about that as we go through it as well. But the Rays game, so it's 5-0. They're just doing their thing, and I'm basically a little bored. I'm like, I might migrate over to a little hockey. We're gonna watch some hockey because the Rays are just drubbing somebody again, right? And then the 5th inning happened, and the bullpen decided to make it interesting for once after going. What were they? 47 1/3 innings, giving up 5 runs. They decided to give up 5 runs in 1 inning. Tied the game, and we got into a little bit of comeback mode. So we'll get into the Rays on the field, Rays off the field, of course. Brody Brazil is going to join us at 11 o'clock. In fact, I have to send him the old StreamYard thing that I forgot to send him. Yeah. So stand by for that. So Brody's going to join us at 11 o'clock. That's what we produce on the air. And so we'll talk all things stadium in that area. I'm going to touch on just a couple things in the monologue here in a second, but then we'll do a much more expanded discussion with Brody. Might even talk a little hockey with him as well because he works for the San Jose Sharks out there out west. And Ken Ericson. Ken Ericson is the softball coach at USF. Many of you know that, and he's been there for 29 years, just led his team to their 10th regional appearance, 10th tournament title at the AAC. They have the player of the year. He'll be the coach of the year, all that good stuff. The Bulls are going out to Fayetteville for the softball regional. So Big O and I interviewed him yesterday, and this is much more than a softball interview, well, even though we love softball. But he's such a savant of coaching. We got into a lot of interesting stuff about his coaching philosophy and how he teaches, and it's really, really interesting. It's really, really interesting. One of the phrases he just threw out there was a full mind equals an empty bat. And I was like, that's interesting. And then he kind of expounded on that.
That's deep
how
stuff.
He teaches, on how he teaches kids. And basically, I'll let you listen to it, but it's really, really good. And so great. Ken Ericson is one of the most interesting people I've ever met. I love having him on the show because he always makes me think and comes up with stuff, and really, really, really smart guy, and a great coach as well, and just a great guy to talk to. So we're going to play that from 11:30 to 12. So lots. We got Brody, we got Ken Ericson, we got Rays, we got Bucs, we got all kinds of stuff to get to. So let's jump on in. The Rays last night, by the way, 41,000 people at Sky Dome last night.
How about that?
41,000. Yeah, they
For
draw.
losing team.
Yeah, very great location, great stadium, losing team, great fan base. They really pack them in. Sugar Shane was fantastic, and to the point where we're asking the question. We've been doing this, we it was a little early, but it was like, is he better than he was? The numbers suggest yes. 21 1/3 scoreless innings, Timmy. 21 1/3 scoreless innings. This is now his fourth scoreless start, which ties the franchise record. His ERA now is 2.27, average against 168, a whip of 0.98. Gave up just one hit, 7 strikeouts last night, gave up a walk and had to be overturned to get the walk. His stuff is dancing. He tickled 98 last night, 97.8, which I don't really care about the velocity, to be quite honest, because his changeup is electric. And the less, it's kind of like a golf swing. When you try to overpower the ball, where's it go? You top it, you hit it way right. It's horrible. When you, as Ben Hogan would say, swing about 85%, 85%, and that lets your body be in sync, and you can get to that whipping point, right? For a golf swing, it's when it all comes, right to the head of the ball, right? Yeah. Everything, all your body movement comes in. Your left arm is straight, and everything, hips, arms, shoulders, everything, whipping of the club and the wrist, all comes to that point. And the synchronicity of that point is what gets you the power. Now, when you try to overpower it, what happens? You get ahead of yourself, the hips are behind, nothing is in sync, and you don't get the power. So now it seems like when he throws less and he gets to that point where everything is in sync, he's getting more velocity, more spin, more everything on the ball. And it makes the changeup dance. It makes the fastball pop. Even though it may not have the speed that it used to, It rides more. A two-seam fastball rides more. So you're getting more movement on the ball. And he is in a groove. He is in his flow state, as the kids say these days. And he just looks fantastic. So that starts the game. They get up 5-0. A lot of key hits once again, but then they give up 5. And Junior Caminero makes an egregious error in the field. They're about to get out of the inning with the lead. Chopper to his left, where Taylor Walls is just sitting in easy position. It's an easy play for him. Get out of the inning. And he puts his glove out there, knocks it away. There's no need to do that. And this is all part of the growing process with Junior Caminero. It's his 8th error of the year. Now, he made some really, really good plays last night. Mm-hmm. And Orestes and I were joking on the text last night. He may be headed to the DH role when Yandy retires. And that may be true. But I think there's a lot in him defensively. He makes some spectacular plays. He's just still learning. We forget he's 22 years old, man. Most guys don't come to the big leagues until they're about 24, 25. And a lot of that times in the minor leagues is working on defense and becoming a better defender. But his bat is just so good, you can't let him languish in the minors because he's not great defensively right now. And he makes great plays. He has the ability to do it. It's just a matter of consistency right now. And that was a mental error that he will learn from. And luckily it didn't cost us a ball game. So that's all fine. It's all fine and good. But what I love is from that point, you saw something from the Rays that you want to see. You want to see fight. You want to see comeback ability. You want to see execution, which is something we talked about with Ken Ericson a lot for the game of softball. You got to execute in the clutch. And execution comes into play in extra innings more than anything else. And they get into the extra innings, and Mullins is your ghost runner. He tags up on a really nice job, a deep fly ball that normally you'd go halfway, because if it gets over his head, you want to be able to score. But he read it well, went back to the bag, tags up, and then scores on a sac fly. So you got the 1 run in extras that you have to have, but you want 2. Right? If you're the visiting team, you got to get 2. Right. So Walls comes up in that situation, and Mullins was on third. Walls comes up in that situation. He said, I was looking to get the bunt sign, and I didn't get it, and I was excited. So I swung away, and he ripped a high fastball into right field to get the RBI to get on base. So now he's on base. I'm trying to remember how he got to second base. Anyway, he got to second base. Then there's a wild pitch, right? Still 1 out. It's a wild pitch. And but the catcher blocks it and keeps it in front. What Taylor did so well is he took that secondary lead, which so many guys don't do. That secondary lead where you come when the catch or the pitcher throws the ball, you're moving towards your base. We see this. The Blue Jays would have won the World Series if they'd have done this fundamental, right?
Right.
Instead of standing flat-footed, you got to be moving towards the base, and that's what he was. And as soon as that ball was in the dirt, boom, he was gone. And he's almost 2/3 of the way or 1/3 of the way to second base or to third base anyway, because you're on second. You want to have that big lead, and he's moving towards it. As soon as that ball hit the dirt, he was gone. And he gets to third base, and then they get the sac fly, and they get the 2-run lead. Baker comes in, closes it out. That was great execution to get another win. So now they're 28-13, 15 games over 500, best record in the American League. They won 10 of their last 11. 16 of their last 18, which is the best in franchise history in an 18-game stint. What more do you freaking want from this team?
It's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
And the way they're playing, and like you said, the Caminero error, you're going to excuse a little bit of stuff like that, and even had they not come back in extras, I think it was in the 10th, right, when they had to go ahead and run the winning run. Even if that doesn't happen, even if you lose this game, it's not the end of the world, right?
No,
I mean, it's the way they're playing right now, the way their heads seem to be in the game as compared to how it was early in the season. I think this thing's turned around tremendously, and we keep asking, is it sustainable? But they keep sustaining it. I mean, I know it's still early. We're just 40-plus games in, but the longer they keep it going, it seems like they're going to. There's no end to it. So, I mean, we know there is, but it's fun to watch.
Well, it's like, in hockey, you want to be a team that can win a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
And the Rays have been able to, outscore you at times because of their consistent offense and speed and contact and lack of strikeouts. They're not going to overpower you, but at times, they've got the power of Aranda and Caminero because they can help them win games, right? At some point, Fraley will get in the mix here and start because they're going up against a lot of lefties. So our right hand killers are not getting a lot of play right now. But that's it. They've got. I'm not going to say they have enough power. I'd still like to see them add power bat. But, you can't argue with what they're doing right now. It's fantastic. And so this was a comeback win. It was a gutsy comeback win. You didn't sulk. You didn't, we blew a 5-run lead and then let the momentum of Toronto and that crowd kind of overwhelm you and go get the win. I mean, that's what happens 90% of the time, right? You're on the road. You blow a 5-0 lead, crowd's going bananas, and that momentum kind of carries them into a win. Well, that didn't happen. They cut it off at 5 runs, and then they went into extra innings and executed, and their bullpen did the job the rest of the way. That's a good sign. You're beating teams now, and they've had, I think this is their 11th comeback win. So they can come back and beat you. They don't quit. Great pitching. Defense can get better, can get a lot better, no question. And obviously their hitting can get better. So there's room to grow here. And that's all good news. All right. We're going to do a lot of stadium stuff at 11. So I don't want to get too big into this, but a couple of urgent things need to be addressed. And you guys are talking about this. The Times had another piece last night. Danny Boy, of course, bringing it up, said, I read the comments from State Senator Budget Chairman Ed Hooper of Clearwater last night. The money quote from the Times piece was, quote, the locals, Hillsborough County and the city there seems to be some heartburn at the request. And until they resolve that, he doesn't think state money should be spent. Okay. Once again, this is not a panic moment. All right. We already talked about this. When they get to the state budget, you're going to have a memo of understanding in order for the state to pass this funding. That's what Ken told us the last time he was on, Ken Babby, CEO. So we've known this all along. That memo of understanding is not yet complete. And we're all frustrated. When's it going to come? When's it going to come? This is all part of the process. This is all part of the process that usually takes about a year to do, if not more. And what we're obviously condensing it for a lot of reasons that we've talked about, and not because we're trying to slide something through that is not great for the community. That's not the reason. It's because they have to get it done by 2029. The political climate right now is ripe to get this done because they've got what I'm hearing. They have the votes, and the state legislature is ready to pass this $100 million to $150 million for Hillsborough College. Spoke to some folks on the Hillsborough College board last night. We talked about this. They fully expect this to be funded. I'll say that again. They fully expect this to be funded. This is a oddly enough, someone from Pinellas, Clearwater, throwing a little wrench in this thing. Not shocking. Not shocking once again, not to impugn Mr. Hooper, Chairman Hooper at all. But it's not shocking. I understand. We're still a little pissed. And for some reason, this ridiculous notion that we're stealing the Rays from St. Pete, ridiculous. We're all in the same family. We're all Tampa Bay. We're not stealing anything. We're just moving rooms around. Junior's grown up. He got senior's bedroom. That's no big deal, right? So we're moving it over, all staying in the family. You guys don't have to pay for it, even though I wish you could throw in because you're going to enjoy it as much as we do. But that's not how this is going to go. And this is nothing we didn't expect. And he's right, by the way. The state should not be allocating money when the memo of understanding, even a non-binding one, is not done. He's 100% right. So I have no gripe with it, but it is interesting. So, yeah, we need the memo of understanding to be completed by the 21st vote, and it'll be non-binding, which leaves a lot of room to get other things right and still move some stuff around to make everybody happy. Listen, and I'll say this real quick, and we'll talk about this with Brodie. There's good arguments on the opposite side that I agree with, and things that need to be done. So I'm not just blindly following these guys into this venture. There are things, and they know that. They know things that they have to capitulate on, quite frankly, in order to get the votes. And we're getting there. So again, framework is there. I still very, very confident it's going to get done. But this is how the sausage is made. And someone else asked about John Morgan. We kind of covered this yesterday. Look, he's the P.T. Barnum of personal injury returnees. He's just always looking for publicity. Nice guy. It's just what he does. He always wants to be in the limelight. And no better way than to start talking about bringing baseball to Orlando at this particular time, which is not a bad thing. Honestly, I think it puts a little sense of urgency on the commissioners to understand that if you screw this up, you're going to be the vote that sends the Rays to Orlando. And nobody, not even Joshua Wostall wants that on it. Well, maybe he does. But nobody else.
We know why.
May God have mercy on your soul.
He's just trying to save us all so we don't go to hell. Because we're going straight to hell if we support this Rays stadium. Straight to hell, you heretics. So John Morgan doesn't have the money to buy the Rays. John Morgan doesn't have the money to build the stadium, even though he's got lots of money. He ain't spending it. He ain't spending his own money to build a stadium. As far as I know, they don't have a suitable site. So enough of that. All right. Next, we're going to get into the Bucs on the other side. So, but I want to hit just a couple of notes here. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. Cal Ripken last night. So Cal was here, and as I mentioned, the folks at the Pinnacle Synovus brought him in. My good buddy John Acosta. Thanks for the invite. He's not a polished speaker, which is fine. Yeah, which is fine. He even, he had a slideshow, and he was talking about the streak and perseverance, and he did relate a couple of really cool stories about Derek Jeter was at his first All-Star game. He was kind of walking around and trying to soak up all the knowledge from all the Hall of Famers that he was playing with, and he came up to Cal, and this was like a later part of the streak, I think, and maybe he'd already even broken the record, and he was like, how do you do it every day? And Cal said, I just show up and play. Never really thought about it. I just show up and play. And if I can play, I play. And he felt, and Jeter was like, that's it. That's all you got. That's all you got. Really? Okay.
It ain't rocket science.
So he felt bad. He felt bad. He wanted to have a better answer. So he went back and wrote down 8 things. And I guess I did take a picture of it. And none of it is earth shaking stuff. But it's, it is one of the greatest accomplishments ever. So it was, he said, the traits required to break my records. He said, who would be the next guy? He said, well, you have to take the right approach, which is, doing all the right things, making all the right decisions in your life, in terms of, not being a crazy partier or any of that stuff.
Right.
Strong will to succeed. Yeah. You've got to be, competitive. You got to be really competitive and have that strong will to be better than the other guy. And that's kind of innate. I think people, you're either highly competitive or you're not. I don't know if it can be taught, to be quite honest. Passion, of course, you got to love the game. You got to be able to, you don't, it's never a job. It can't be a job. Like, this is my passion, to come in here and do what we do every single day for 2 hours and all the prep work that goes into it. Really, it's 24/7. It really, I'm constantly watching something, listening something. If I have free time, I don't know. I need to actually be better at consuming other stuff. But what I do is I turn on podcasts that have, sports in them. I listen to the Pewter Report. I listen to Lightning. I listen to a lot of local stuff. I'm constantly watching stuff when I'm in the car, listening to sports radio. Always. I'm always prepping. And you just don't really realize it, but it's my passion. I like it. I love it. I just love listening to it and reacting to it. So you got to be passionate about what you do to show up every day. And folks, by the way, if this is your life, be passionate about what you do every day. Don't pick something you're not passionate about. I don't care how much you make. I don't care if it's the only job you think you can do. Trust me, you can do something else. And if you love it, you'll work harder at it. You'll be successful. And number 4 was love to compete. Number 5, consistency, right? Consistency is often the number 1 reason for success. If you get up and you do it every day, I forget who had this quote, but showing up is 99% of it every day. If you show up and you just work, something good's going to come out of that, especially when you add all these other things. Number 6 was conviction. Know that what you're doing is what you love and you're good at it. And you're confident. You're confident what you're doing, that you're going to win, that you're going to play well. You wake up knowing, hey, I'm better at this than anybody else, and I'm going to go out and do it. And even if I'm 50% injured, I'm probably going to be better than 90 to 100% of the other guys. Number 7, he says, was strength. And strength, not only physical strength, but inner strength and keeping your body in tip-top shape. And that's part of consistency as well. You have to have emotional strength. You have to have physical strength, mental strength, all these things. Being a strong person is a choice. It's innate too, I believe, but it's also a choice to be forceful in the things that you do. And then life management was the last one. And those were his 8 traits he felt that someone would have to break his record and be as consistent and be successful as he was. Now, I think it's kind of the last question of the night. I said, hey, Cal, we got a stadium debate going on here, and if it doesn't pass, the Rays might leave Tampa Bay. I said, if you played in a terrible stadium to start your career, Baltimore Memorial, and then you moved to Camden Yards, which transformed the Inner Harbor in Baltimore forever. So you've been part of this. You know what a ballpark can do to a community. I said, what would you tell our elected officials if you could talk to them about how important this is? And then he said, well, I'm not a political guy. I'm apolitical. And so I think he wanted me to, he thinks I wanted him to get into some political discussion, which I did not. Right. So I think, it was a very watered down answer, quite frankly. But he did get to the point of, hey, I was in Baltimore when we lost the Colts, and it kind of sucked the soul out of the city for a long time. And I thought that was a great point. He was there, he understood it, grew up there, and it did. It was, Timmy, you remember that, right? When the Colts left Baltimore, it was gut wrenching, right? We talk about the Mayflower vans in the middle of the night, right?
The snow, yeah.
It devastated a community, and what brought Baltimore back was Camden Yards. And he talked about Camden Yards and just what baseball means to the people of Baltimore and what it means to any community. He said losing your baseball team, I think he even used the word catastrophic to a community. So it wasn't the most enthusiastic answer that I was hoping for, but it got to the point, and it brought up something about them losing the Colts. And I think it's a very real thing. And this is not just a conversation about should we spend the money or not. It's like, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Because I do truly believe that there's so much interest right now in baseball. As I said to the city council, there's 10 other cities that are just dying to get the Rays. Because if you get the Rays, you don't have to pay the expansion fee. Now, there might be a relocation fee, but it's not going to be $2.5 billion, which may go to $3 billion at this point because of what the Padres just sold for. But it could be 2, could be 2.5, whatever it is. It's a lot of money. And even if it's paid for by your ownership group, that's less money they're going to have to put into the team, to put into the building, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We already have that head start. All we got to do is throw in $1 billion instead of a $4.5 billion deal. It's just $1 billion. I say just $1 billion, right? But over 30 years, at these prices, right, it'll look like a bargain in 15, 20 years, just like Raymond James Stadium or Benchmark International Arena, which I believe the initial build was $86 million. So it's just as inflation goes up and the cost of everything goes up, this will look, stadiums will be $3 billion in 3 years, and then they'll be $4 billion, and it's just the cost of doing business. But right now, we'll talk about this with Brodie. This is an unbelievable opportunity that 10 other cities are just hoping we screw up. And we got to keep that in mind. There's a reason for that. All these other cities are not stupid. There's a reason for what they want. And when you get down to it, like I said, there are good arguments on both sides. But for me, it's overwhelmingly what the Rays are offering here is a great deal. And so many people get caught up in, but they're going to make so much money. Yeah, they are. They are. Oh, they could do it themselves. Yeah, they could. But why would you? This is the way business is done. This is what kind of irks me a lot is that people say, they can afford it. They can do this. Yeah, they probably could. But the city is going to get back so much money in taxable revenue and all the other benefits that's going to happen. That's why these other cities are lining up. If you were a businessman, would you just say, I'm just going to have to pay $4? Yeah, I could go over here and they give me $2 billion or $3 billion. Sure. But I'm just, I'm going to, we're a billionaire, so we're just going to do right here. How do you think they got to be billionaires? By being stupid businessmen? It's a win-win. It's, I want to buy a hot dog from you, so I'm going to give you these $3, right? You want my $3, right? I want the hot dog. So you want to sell the hot dog. I want to buy the hot dog, right? It's the essence of capitalism. I want a baseball stadium. Here's $1 billion. Will you give me $6 billion back in taxes or even $3 billion? Yeah. Okay. I like that deal. I'm in. We're both going to agree to this. So I understand. I hate billionaires too. I I hate the fact that Jeff Bezos makes so much money and his employees don't. I think that's disgusting. I really do. But I'm not going to get caught up in all that I'm not going to bite off my nose to spite my face. I understand that. I hate billionaires too in that way. But in this case, if I'm going to give them some money and they're going to give me a lot more back in community benefits, then I'm going to be smart. I'm going to take that little part of me that doesn't like billionaires and CEOs that make 400 times what their employees make. I'm going to put that aside because it has nothing to do with this deal. So there you go.
JP, since you brought up Cal Ripken Jr. in the streak, do you know who holds the current consecutive games played streak that is active in MLB right now?
That is a great question. Was there anybody who played 162 last year? I would doubt it. Nobody does that.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Because the guy that has the current streak just entered the top 10 all time this week.
Really?
Yeah. The current streak is 823 consecutive games played, passing Gus Sir at 822, who was number 10. So now first baseman Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves is in the top 10. No, me neither. There's no way. With 823 games played. Ahead of him next, 829, which is Eddie Yost. And then
got a long way to go, brother.
895, Stan Musial, of course, in the 50s. And ahead of him at 1103, Joe Sewell, 1117, Billy Williams. Miguel Tejada at 1152 is number 5 on the all-time list. I didn't know that.
Respect.
Yeah, much respect.
Played forever.
Steve Garvey at 1207. Yep, remember that? Because his streak ended right about the time Ripken's began. Everett Scott from 1916 to 1925 played in 1,307, and he took Lou Gehrig took over his record. Of course, Lou Gehrig, 2,130 games from June 25 to April of 39. And, of course, the man on top, Cal Ripken, 2,632 games from May of 1982 to September of 1998. That will never be broken.
No, there's no way. No way.
Not the mindset with players these days. It's not going to happen.
He did tell another interesting story about the when the streak ended, and I'd forgotten this, but you know how the streak ended? Or what? He didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
It was going to happen. And nobody knew. And so, like, it was Ryan Miner went out there and was taking ground balls and then went out there for the first pitch, and everybody's like, and Ryan was looking at him in the dugout, and he's like, no, go ahead. He's like, you sure? He's like, yep. Because he could have played that day.
Yeah.
He could have played that day.
He just thought it was time.
Yeah. And then the Yankees were kind of like, there was no announcement. There was no anything. So the Yankees come up on the front of this, and when they realized, and then the crowd started cheering, and then Cal came out and tipped the cap. So, goosebumps. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, it's football time. It's football time. So I want to get to some of your comments as well. We got lots to talk about with the Buccaneers as their offensive coaches met the media yesterday. They're new coaches. And Brody Brazil at 11 o'clock. And then Ken Ericson at 11:30. Lots of show left. We're brought to you by the great folks at Pitch Roofing. Hey, find out what it's all about. You're going to need a new roof at some point of your home. So how much life do you have left? What's the process? How does it work? That's why I call the folks at Pitch Roofing right now when you don't need it, right? It's not an emergency situation. They'll come out for free. They'll check out their roof and say, yeah, you got about 3-4 years left, maybe 6 years, maybe, you know what? You need a new roof. Here's how it works with insurance. Here's how it works with this. Here's how it works with that. If you got some damage, then there's some things you could do. What you don't want to do is just have somebody knock on your door and say, hey, looks like your roof needs some work. Can we take a look at it? Yeah, don't do that. Do not do that. Let the great folks at Pitch Roofing, who are insured, who are bonded, who stand behind their work, come by and tell you what it's all about and give you an estimate. And they'll give you the JP Peterson Show discount. PitchRoofing.com. Back in 3. Pitch Roofing believes giving back is part of doing business the right way. That's why they proudly offer exclusive discounts to those who gave the most to our communities, including veterans, first responders, seniors, and teachers. And for listeners of the JP Peterson Show, there's even more good news. Pitch Roofing is now offering a special discount just for fans of the show. With so many roofing companies coming and going in Florida, it's important to choose a contractor you can count on long after the job is done, especially when it comes to honoring your warranty. Pitch Roofing is built for the long haul with a reputation for quality, transparency, and standing behind their work. Whether it's a repair or a full replacement, their team delivers honest guidance, quality workmanship, and no high-pressure sales. Call 727-67-PITCH, 727-677-4824, or visit pitchroofing.com to schedule a free estimate.
Pitch roofing, roofing done right.
As the Rays enjoy being back in their Tropicana Field home this season that was ravaged by Hurricane Milton, Italiano Insurance wants to remind us all how important it is to be properly insured. 40% of you are underinsured. That can mean financial disaster. Let the experienced and friendly agents at Italiano shop your policies for the best price and the right coverage. Italiano saved me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year, over $500 on our homeowners insurance. They can do the same for you. That's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Cost less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with our all-star agents at Italiano Insurance, or call our Boca Grande office at 941-964-0400. Hey guys, you already know that Riveters is the best sports bar in all of Tampa Bay, but now it gets even better for Rays baseball season. During all Rays games, check this out, $6 Tito's, $6 Jack, $6 margaritas, all during Rays games. Are you kidding me? And that's always a great pour from the great bartenders at Riveters. Great service, great food, everything is fresh, nothing is frozen. And let me tell you, if you want baseball and wings, you will not find any better than Riveters. Their sauces, like the blue cheese and the ranch and everything, is handmade, and the wings are big and they're perfect. Wings, baseball, Rays, Riveters. It all comes together during baseball season. Once again, in addition to all the great food and service, you get $6 Tito's, $6 Jacks, $6 margaritas. It's time to celebrate. Baseball season is back, and celebrate at Riveters. You know where it is, right there on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of the stadium. See you there at Riveters. It's Diamond Days at the Golden Diamond Source. Celebrate April's birthstone, which is diamonds, as they take center stage. Up to 20% off the diamond jewelry throughout the month of April. And don't forget, you could trade in your broken or old jewelry towards something new and beautiful. Gold prices are at a record high. Now is the best time. And by the way, they only sell natural diamonds at the Golden Diamond Source. It's real love. It should be real natural diamonds. Don't start your relationship with a fake diamond. Really, really bad idea. And for the Golden Diamond Source first-time buyers, they are going to teach you all about the 4 C's and all the different shapes and styles. They are able to show you a huge selection of inventory to choose from. And by the way, you can trust them. They've been in business for over 40 years. Don't buy something online. You have no idea what you're getting. 0% financing for up to 5 years. Make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond. 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldendiamond.com. Hey, JP here for Genesis of Tampa and the Murphy Auto Group. I think the best way to experience a business is to use that business. And I just did at Genesis of Tampa. Just bought a GV70, a 2023, and it feels and drives all new. It's an absolutely fantastic car. The technology, the comfort, and the price, absolutely outstanding. Frankly, I never thought I could get into a car like this, but they made me a deal I could not refuse. And I also get the VIP service where you can just drive right up, their pit stop service. They'll top off all the fluids, make sure your air in your tires is good, new wipers if you want them. If you need extended service, they will come to you, bring you a courtesy car, and then bring your car back. What more do you want? The experience was just VIP all the way. And you can get that at Genesis of Tampa. And don't forget, you can get extended warranty, which I did. So I have worry-free miles up to 100,000, and all they do is just take it in. Actually, I don't have to take it in. They come to me. It's perfect. It's Genesis of Tampa right there, 801 East Bears Avenue, right off of 275. Go see them and tell them JP sent you.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the folks at Riveters, the best sports bar in all of Tampa Bay. If you've not been there, what are you doing? It's not one of those preppy frou-frou sports bars. That ain't what it's all about, man. It's meat and potatoes, right? And by the way, the meat, prime rib, they smoke it right there on premises. Absolutely insane. They make the prime rib sandwiches. They make the prime rib tacos, prime rib sliders. And freaking tastic. The wings are huge, number one. So they have the happy hour wings, which you get 8 wings for $12, and it's more than a meal, folks. It is fantastic. It's not those little itty bitty ones. It's the big ones. And they're fresh, never frozen, and that's what makes them great. They're so good. And they've got microbrew right there as well. They have an IPA, a hazy IPA that's fantastic. So many great things about Riveters. All the games are on, indoor, outdoor. Great, great, great staff. Can't say that enough. They serve you with a smile, and they're fun to be around. So go on over to Riveters whenever you're looking for a place to go watch a game. That is the space. By the way, they're part of the Rays Watch Party crew, where they give away all kinds of merch during the games. So always a good time to go watch Rays at Riveters. And they have the Rays Riveter specials every game, $6 Tito's, $6 Margs, $6 Jacks. So check it out. If you want to go watch the Rays, Riveters Tampa, it's right there on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of the stadium. All right, a couple things here on the Rays, since we got some comments on the Rays. Alex Nunn says, JP, my problem is with the cockiness. Caminero, once again, trotting at the end of the top of the 10th. He needs to focus on defense and not trotting. We had a really
Is that a real issue?
Not for me. But we had a great conversation yesterday with Orestes on his show. And who better to talk about this than Orestes Estrada, who obviously has a great Latino background, played in Japan, multicultural guy. And we had a really great discussion about celebrations. And we talked about the other night with Peyton Tolley did his celebration as he struck him out. And Junior was like, wow, what is that all about? And even Orestes said that, come on now, Junior, that's a little hypocritical. He didn't have any problem with, Junior does all these kind of histrionics when he hits a home run. And, he said he's going to talk to Junior and break down every little thing that he does, the clap, the look, the hop, the skip, whatever. And he doesn't have any problem with that. But he's also said, don't have a problem if the guy strikes you out and he does a celebration as well, which I think is fair. Yeah. Totally fair. With Junior, I'm not worried because he's going to find a happy medium. Right now, he's an exuberant 22-year-old. The world is his oyster. It's incredible time to be Junior Caminero. And you can get caught up in a lot of stuff. And you need to be very level-headed and you need to be mature. And I know he's a great young kid. He's not a wander in any way, shape, or form. Not even close. But I think he does need some mentorship. And I'm sure that the Rays are providing that. And it'll be fine. He's made up of good stuff. So I don't worry about it too much, Alex. It's not going to seep into his play or anything like that. Could he be a little bit more focused? I think he could. But again, he's 22, man. He's 22. And that is a baby in baseball terms. So let's give him a little bit of rope here. All right, I'll read some of the stadium stuff when Brodie comes on. We'll do that. Oh, Alex did say this. Speaking of hot dogs, look at the Jays last night. They had $1 hot dogs, sold out crowd for a losing team. The model works and sells. And they had a hot dog number. And at the end of the game, it was like close to 100,000.
Yeah. They do that here. We do that here every Wednesday, home game.
Babby, $1 hot dogs, 41,000 last night. I know he's watching. I know he's watching the game. I mean, he sees what Toronto's doing. I smell a $1 hot dog night at Tropicana Field. I think that's coming.
Dude, on Wednesday home games, when I go to those things, I buy them 10 at a time. Just load me up. 10 at a time.
Listen, that might make me sick a little bit later on, but I'd do it. I'd do it. Yeah. All right, to the Buccaneers. And, Timmy, you have the sound there, but I'll just start this off. Yesterday, the offensive coaches kind of mingled with the media. I'm so pissed that I couldn't have been there yesterday. They do it right during the show. Zach Robinson, of course, the new offensive coordinator, spoke. Chandler Whitmer, who came over from Indiana after helping Fernando Mendoza win the Heisman and the national championship, very highly thought of. TJ Yates, who played, I think, 7-8 years in this league. I was listening to the Pewter Report podcast. When I get a take and I like it, instead of just flat out stealing it like other people in this market do, I give credit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's, just word to the wise.
Journalistic integrity, JP.
When you actually use my words word for word, you should probably, but I know you won't. But they made a great point, he and Maddie, about, Zach was a collegiate quarterback and a really good one. And so was TJ Yates, and so was Whitmer. These guys have played the position. And I really, really like that. I really like that, because you can coach it all you want, but until you've stood in the pocket and had to go through all your reads, and when 5, 6, 7 guys are trying to destroy you, and you're trying to read the field down, and you got to step into a throw and keep your mechanics perfect, all while all the chaos is going around you. Like I've said many, many times, to me, playing quarterback is the hardest position in all of sports. I don't think it's close, to be quite honest. It's extremely difficult. And unless you've done it, I don't know. I'm not going to say you can't be a great coordinator. I just think it helps a lot. You really understand what a quarterback is going through in the game. I mean, it's easy to look at it on tape and say, that guy was wide open, right? But what Zach understands, and TJ, the guys that play the position, is you just got drilled to play before. You just got ear holed, and you're probably a little woozy. And yeah, you missed that guy, and you could sit there and say, how do you miss that guy wide open? And he could tell you, well, I got ear hold, and he'd go, oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I understand exactly what's going on. So I just think there's an empathy there that just doesn't exist with a guy like Josh Grizzard, who was a safety. And I think it's a great take. And absolutely, these guys understand what quarterback play is all about. And they've all got some connection to Baker Mayfield, which I think is really, really cool as well. Let's just go ahead and hit some of the sound here, Timmy. You set it up. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we can react to each one of them, because I want you to hear their voices and kind of feel out, who they are.
Let's take a listen to, since you just brought him up, TJ Yates first.
Baker's kind of one of the last of the dying breed of those just competitive alpha quarterbacks. There's a lot of guys across the league that
on Baker
are just, I don't want to say it, they're a little softer mannered, they're a little mildly mannered. There's just, just the way of social media and sensitivity that goes on with everybody in the younger generation. I could say that now because I'm a little bit older, maybe on one end or the other of that, but Baker's just different compared to the rest of the guys that I've been around. I know there's good examples across the league of guys that are like that, but for the guys that I've been around, the dudes that really know how to play the position and just earn that respect from their teammates by the way they carry themselves and the leader and the competitor they are. Like that's really what Baker does to stand out from other guys across the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, the guys are going to come in, they're going to give platitudes to their quarterback. I get it. But this stuff is real. And again, guys that have played the position, and I love the fact that he's, but Baker is a throwback. He is an alpha. He's in a throwback alpha. And this is why the guys love him. It's why they follow him. It's why he is who he is. And so I love that quote. And I think he understands, again, TJ understands what it's like to stand in front of a group of alphas as the quarterback of a team. He's done it in the NFL. So again, understanding it and being able to coach it, I think it helps tremendously. All right, next
we've got Brian McClendon. Now I've got a couple of them here.
Wide receivers coach.
Yeah, wide receivers coach.
Love him.
We've got one on him. We'll do next talking about Ted Hurst. I think he's just talking about the room in general.
Smart, all of that stuff. He kind of checks all those boxes, and so because he does that, you
talking a Mecca.
To use him as much as you can, and he got put in a position that, quite frankly, he was, we leaned on him probably more than we should have early in his career, and it was nobody's fault. Guys got help, guys got banged up, and he was the best guy there, and so we're trying to do a bunch with him, and so the one, to be able to get a lot of the talented guys back out there around him, that's going to help him out a lot too. And two, he has a whole season of training for this deal. I mean, I say it all the time. It's really, it's nobody's fault also. I mean, but you got guys that play through a national championship and then they go and 2 weeks, a few weeks later they're at the combine. A few weeks later they're drafted, and a month or two later they're drafted. And then a week or two after that they're thrown in with the vets, and you got the NFL offseason. So you really never get a chance to kind of heal up from even stuff that you're dealing with as a young player shooting in college, right? And so I think, like I said, you had some lingering stuff like that kind of jump up, and having to play through 17 games as a rookie. I mean, it's just not easy. It's not easy, and I think he handled it as good as anybody could. But you would like to have been able to help him out some a little bit too.
By the way, thanks to Pewter Report. They posted that these pieces. So you don't really think about that for rookies coming in, right? They don't get an off season. They don't get an off season. He just outlined it. It's one stop after the next. You don't get to take a breath, and then you're done with your rookie season. And finally you get a little bit of exhale. And then, so now, he resets and Mike is gone. He's stepping into his leadership role. And I think he's going to be a great, great leader and a captain of this team for years and years to come. I actually met his roommate last night, who played with him at Ohio State, and who's who just moved down here to run a nonprofit, which we're going to get involved with. Really, really cool guy.
Who is his roommate?
Ken, started with a B. Ken B-A-B-E. I want to say Babby, but
Ken Babby.
Yeah. I think that's his name, Babby. Anyway, he's got a great nonprofit. We chatted about it last night, and I gave him my card. We're going to exchange, and I said I want to bring both of you in the studio, talk about your nonprofit, and talk to Emeka as well. Really impressive young man, as is obviously Emeka, and I think he's got a lot of runway ahead of him. Boy, what we saw last year in the beginning was just kind of a reaction. I got to go out and play. These guys are hurt. I got to be the star of the show. And he didn't blink an eye, did not bat an eye. You know how hard that is to step into the league. And I mean, he was maybe the best receiver in the league from a production standpoint in the first 7-8 weeks. And then of course he kind of hit the rookie wall, got some injuries. Other guys came back, and, I think his drop off at the end of the season was probably more because of the entire offense dropping off than it was him, but it is what it is. He had some drops that were uncharacteristic. So I think we've just scratched the surface on what Emeka Egbuka can be. Right. Next.
Brian McClanahan on third round rookie Ted Hurst.
Sure. Ted has that rare size, speed, quickness, all that combination that you have right there, kind of wrapped up in one body, that everyone, I think, kind of looks for. And when you start evaluating all the receivers, he was one of those guys that it was like, all right, we kind of had a range that we could have drafted a receiver, and it was like, all right, man, let's just kind of evaluate him, and not really anticipating him being there in that range. And when it all happened, I'm getting more and more excited, because it looked like he was going to be there, and obviously it was at the top end of that range that we were going to potentially be able to do something with him, and it all just worked out where we were able to get him. And so just super excited about being able to work with him. Had a chance to visit with him. I know our organization visited with him at the combine. I got a chance to get on Zoom with him and talk ball with him, and get a good rapport with the guy, and see how he was as a person, and we felt really good about that part too. So we're excited about him, and obviously he has a long way to go, and a lot of stuff to learn in every aspect, but we're excited to have him here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we could talk all about unproven rookies we want and potential and everything. We just got to see him do it. But man, there's a lot to like, and this kid's numbers and his ability scream first round pick. Yeah. He's just 6'4", 4'2", knows how to high point the ball, runs. I wouldn't say runs great routes, but that'll come. And for X receivers, that's not as important. It's not important. I like great route runners, but he can get by on his ability the first couple of years before he becomes a complete technician, because it takes a few years. So it's exactly what we need to get a kid like that with that kind of ability in the third round. Is, again, another freaking steal for the Buccaneers. And that's why everybody loves their draft. It's not, I mean, not only did you fill your needs, I mean, first of all, when the best pass rusher in the draft, and I think Bain is that, I think he's better than those other guys. That's just my opinion. When he falls to you at 15, I mean, that's draft's over. You won. And then you follow it up with these guys that you got. It's almost like a bonus. And Keontae Scott and Hurst, I think, are guys that are going to be longtime starters, if not Pro Bowlers in this league. You know, Trotter's a bit of a wild card, and I agree with that. But, man, he's got a lot of ability. Now, we got to coach him up, and we haven't done a great job of that, to be quite honest, on the defensive side. I'm worried about Hurst. McClanahan will develop him. He knows how to deal with young receivers. And then Bain is Bain. I mean, he's going to be great. Don't get in the way. Just don't get in the way.
Yeah.
He's already been trained.
Todd.
You know,
don't mess it up, Todd Bowles.
Yeah. All right. Next.
I want to make sure we get to these before we get to Brodie real quick. This is Zach Robinson. The first video here is on him talking about Godwin. And then the second one is very curious. And I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I like it, but we'll listen to this one first on Godwin.
He's right in the thick of it. Chris is, first off, just his style of play and the way that he plays the game of football is exactly what we want to exemplify as an offense. And showed some of those clips early on in the offseason of just, just the toughness that he plays with, the energy that he brings on a snap-in, snap-out basis. Like, that stuff overrides any sort of scheme and anything that you get into. And so I love the way that Chris plays the game. You go back and you watch, when he came back last season and just how much he progressed. You're seeing him run after catch and doing the things that he's always done at a really high level. And you watch the 24 stuff, and there was really no receiver playing better than him in the entire league before he got hurt. So Chris looks great out there right now. I know, he's still working back, but shoot, from the last half of the season to now, I think you're seeing him kind of get back to his stride and what he's always been. And huge expectations for him, on the field as a player, but in the locker room as a leader, and just guys look to him at all times, just the way that he approaches the game and his style of play.
We talk about Zach and Liam being kind of, symbiotic guys and carbon copies, and that's true in their pedigree. And now he's got 2 years under his belt in Atlanta calling plays. The different group of players too. There's criticism out there about his pistol formation, all that stuff, and that's because he had quarterbacks that couldn't move. We get that. So this is a totally different deal with Baker. I'm excited to see what he can do. But to his point, in 24, Godwin was the best. He was the best in the league. He was killing it. And then he got hurt. And this offense is very similar. So don't reinvent the wheel. Use Chris the way Liam did, and you'll get that production. The fact that he's healthy now and he's not coming off a huge injury, even at his age, Chris is a different cat. He protects his body better, but maybe better than any player I've seen to be able to come back from the injuries that he's had is because he is so incredibly physically fit. He and his wife are fitness freaks. It's going to be a good one. All right, let's do one more from Zach.
Yeah, and you mentioned Liam Cohen. This is the issue I have here. Liam Cohen is public enemy number one for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at least for me. Zach Robinson, if you have daily conversations with Liam Cohen, we need to have a serious conversation.
I talk almost every single day. Obviously we were in the division together, so those 2 years, I was like, we're not talking ball. And so we didn't get a chance to talk much X's and O's and their personnel. I obviously was watching the tape and could see it from afar, but yeah, it's been natural dialogue, just in terms of how he saw guys, and the run game took kind of a new level, like you mentioned, with some different variety that we were used to from our system in LA. They had some gap schemes going that they kind of fell into as the season progressed and ended up being really successful. So those natural dialogues that Liam and I have now that he's on the other side of the AFC and we can actually talk real football. We don't play him next year, so that's been good. He's been super helpful just with even guys on the staff. And it's an awesome staff working with some of the guys for the first time with BMAC and Peely and some of these guys. Like, it's been a cool collaboration, and it's been a lot of fun just to kind of get to know everybody around the building and kind of build this thing the right way.
Stop talking to Liam Cohen, Zach
Shut
Robinson.
Up. Keep talking to Liam Cohen.
No.
Yes.
You don't need that.
Why would you not take that information? He coached all these guys. Why would you not use that? He had a whole year with these guys. He knows their strengths and weaknesses. Why would you not tap into that? That's dumb. Dude, this is not third grade. You don't have rivalries like that. They're two friends and two coaches who share ideas. It's fine. You'd be dumb not to tap into that.
Zach Robinson just bounced down about 10 notches on my respect.
It's a great time for a break. Shut up. All right. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Brody Brazil is all loaded up and ready to go. So we will chat about the Rays Stadium saga and get some different perspective than the same shit you hear from me every single day. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. We hope you didn't screw up on Mother's Day, people, but if you did, you can make it right and go back over there because they still have the best selection. They still have the best staff, 0% financing up to 5 years. So you can get a $5,000 diamond for just $83, and they only sell real diamonds there. Do not start your relationship with a fake diamond, folks. That's a really, really bad idea. Go see the great folks at Golden Diamond. Julie and Steve Weintraub just had their 20th anniversary. Love you guys. Love your business. So if it's graduation or a birthday or anything coming up, the first stop is the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, just across the bridge from Tampa. Back in 3 with Brody Brazil. Well, the folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC want to say thanks for making them so dadgum busy. Of course, advertising on your favorite Tampa Bay sports talk show helps, but it's their incredible customer service, honesty, and integrity that have earned them tons of 5-star reviews. And now you could be part of the team at Third Generation. Yes, they are so slammed, they need to hire more certified AC technicians and plumbers. It's a great family business to work for. My buddy John Rodriguez runs an old school family business since 1995. They pay well, give you all the holidays off, and they offer great benefits. No cold corporate atmosphere here. You're part of the family. If this sounds cool to you, call them and apply at 813-961-8024, or you can email your resume in at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Just go to the website, you'll see the button, email them, or call them at 813-961-8024. And don't forget about the $169 yearly maintenance special. It's a no-brainer, guys. thirdgenerationplumbing.com, and they also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, as we are brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Hey, make sure you have all of your insurance needs. 40% of you are underinsured, we're told, by those stats geeks. And that means if the hurricane comes and your house gets wiped out, you don't have enough money to replace it. That's a really bad idea. And you wouldn't even seen that coming. You got to have flood insurance as well, not just the hurricane insurance, which protects you against wind. So learn it all. Just call the folks at Italiano Insurance, where a human actually answers the phone and helps you. Yes, it's old school over there. They've been doing it for over 60 years. Get the great customer service. They do all the work. You save all the money. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right, let's welcome in the man, the myth. Man, I just read your bio, Brodie. Man, 13 regional Emmy Awards. A's pregame live, A's postgame live. Are you moving to Vegas? Sharks pregame live, Sharks postgame live. A flight instructor? You fly
airline
too?
pilot.
Yeah,
pretty much everything.
Pete's, bro. God damn. How are you, partner?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I got to say, you've got really good commercials on your show. Like,
I got a lot of sponsors.
There's some character involvement there, and it's not just other people doing the reads. I mean, when it's time to push a product, right? It's better if it comes from you, and you're part of it. So I was listening the last couple of minutes, like, this is really good. Actually, I'm not tuning away for this part.
Wow, that's good. And most of I got to refresh my commercials. A lot of them need a little refreshing, but
you hear them a lot, I'm sure.
And so do my people, hopefully. But they love. You know what? We have a great relationship with all our sponsors. A lot of them have been with us for 15, 20 years. So it's
awesome.
And I can't do what I do without them. You know, and they never, even when I say stupid things, and they never hit me up and say, don't say that anymore. They just let me do what I do. So maybe I don't make as much as I would at some other places, but I have a lot more freedom, which is what I like.
Yes.
Being in independent journalism. So it's great. And you know, what you do, I am envious of it because damn, you have 100,000 subscribers. And you do a hell of a job. Your production, the way you present things is, I may not agree with it sometimes, but you present it so well. That I find myself nodding my head. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that. And I think you know where it comes from in twofold. The way I approach things is basically I'm just doing what I used to do on TV for multiple decades, you know, here in California. But the other part is, you know, I'm trying to not live from my experiences, but I'm trying to pass forward. And especially with the Rays situation, I know we'll dive into that, but I went through this stuff. And when I say I've seen the movie before, that doesn't necessarily mean that the sequel has the identical script or that it's going to go the same way at all. It does not mean that. But a lot of the common things and knowing what's next and knowing where the pitfalls are and the roadblocks are, I just, unfortunately, and I say this like, you think I'm happy to have those experiences? Hell no. I'm trying to impart some of that on, you know, Tampa Bay Rays fans, just to say, hey, let me help show you the way here, and you could do whatever you want with it, you know?
Right. Well, let me ask you, I'm going to tap into your emotion a little bit here, as I asked Cal Ripken the same question last night, because he went through it with the Baltimore Colts, and he also knows what it's like when they left town, and he also knows what it's like when you build a new stadium and how it can transform a city in Camden Yards, because he played in the crappy Baltimore Memorial and then moved over to Camden Yards right in the middle of his career. And he said, listen, you know, losing the Colts was like ripping the soul out of the city. And it was horrible for everybody. And you know, we got the Ravens finally, but it was bad. And as far as what Camden Yards did, you can't even, words don't really describe what it did for Baltimore. So emotionally, what was it like when you finally realized that the A's were gone? And if you could speak to our electeds, you know, what does it do to the constituency when you lose a baseball team like that had so much rich history there in Oakland?
Yeah. It was 57 years here, and I'll never forget the night. It was April of 2023 when the first report came out. There had been conversations for 2 years prior, right? And it's kind of in that same Orlando-Tampa stage right now, where it's a conversation and the team, although I don't know if Patrick Zalupski really is going to go meet with John Morgan and have lunch, but the point is we're at that initial stage of like, okay, so people are putting 2 and 2 together, but it's not officially linked. And I'll never forget that night, April of 23, when it officially became linked. They had some other site they were going to build at. They had some other ways they were going to do this. Eventually, they pivoted to going to the Strip. But from there, I think it got taken a lot more seriously. I think a lot of people looked at the state of Nevada and said, you would be foolish to submit to all the requests that the A's are going to have, but they did. And people still don't know how the ballpark is being funded, but apparently it is. Apparently it is. And, you know, I think we got to ultimately 2024 and the last season of baseball in Oakland. And I mean, look, you want to know how I reacted? All the clips of our final postgame shows, they're all here on YouTube. So you can find them pretty easy. I'm a mess. And I think, and I was at a golf event Monday, and another dad from the area here came up to me and said, you know, we've never met. And I just wanted to say, I watched those last few shows and it still sticks with me. And I was like, I almost broke down on the golf course, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I told him I wasn't trying to make this over dramatic. I wasn't trying to grandstand and make a point by crying every day on TV like I pretty much did, but I couldn't stop myself.
Right.
And I guess I am an emotional person to some degree, but if that doesn't tell you enough of somebody doing a baseball pre and post game show, that I grew up with this team, I grew up in this area, I couldn't hold it together for any of those days. So I think, and that's just the personal side, there's a huge hole. I think there's so many ramifications of what you don't realize if your team goes away. Can you imagine driving past Tropicana Field on a daily basis and just looking over at a gravesite? And it's just, that's what the Coliseum site is for the A's, the Raiders, and the Warriors. It's tough.
God, I feel for the people in Oakland. Why? And in the end, why did it all happen? You think? What were the biggest mistakes made? You think?
Let me square this away too, because people often tie them together and say, well, Oakland deserves it. They lost 3 teams. Well, the Warriors initially were from San Francisco, and there never was a world-class arena built in San Francisco. Like, it's crazy. And it's hard for me to explain the geography here of our region. It's 3 big cities, San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose, all very close together, 40 minutes, kind of in a triangle apart, let's say. So the Warriors going back to San Francisco, okay, like they're not moving out of the area. They're building a new building for our region. Okay, that's fine. The Raiders left because the A's were being such sticklers about the Coliseum and controlling the venue and not letting the Raiders do more. Now, the Raiders totally gutted the place and built that monstrosity of Mount Davis out there in center field for baseball in the mid-90s. So the Raiders got their chance to basically control Oakland and kind of ruin the stadium. And so the A's were playing literally hardball, but the A's were also kind of squatting. They're like, we're camping out here. And that's what they literally came up with the phrase, rooted in Oakland. What does that mean to you, JP? Like, it doesn't matter what happens. We're not going anywhere until they decided to flip the script. I mean, and that's, I would never accuse Ken Babby or anybody of doing that. I'm just saying it can happen if they get pissed off enough. I'm just saying things like that. It's not impossible because it's happened. But what eventually happened is the A's submitted a ton of difficult requests. Instead of going to the Coliseum site where there's 100+ acres, and I pushed Howard Terminal. This was the other beautiful, extravagant site right on the waterfront.
Yes.
Also would have been beautiful. The city didn't want to pay public subsidies. They didn't want to do that. But the city did go out and secure about $600 million of state and federal grants for all the other stuff that the A's would have had to pay for. They said, we're not going to pay for this, but we hooked you up. And suddenly that wasn't enough. And the A's wanted to build this project, not in phases like, you know, every other project happens. They wanted to build it all at once. And that was going to cost more up front. They didn't want to agree to affordable housing. They didn't want, it's tough also in California. I should be very upfront.
I can only imagine.
We know that. Like, we know this. But that being said, it can happen. Look at SoFi Stadium. Look at the Intuit Dome down in SoCal. Look at Oracle Park across the bay, all privately funded. It can happen. So they don't want to do it. They're basically, and you know, I feel like A's ownership will tell you, we tried. Yeah. So show me the math on that. Show me the part where you tried, because hearing a no and being the the heirs to the Gap fortune when your parents founded the Gap. And, you probably don't hear a lot of no in your life. And my point, not to make this too personal, but I feel like there was an instant no, and that's too hard to overcome. So you know what? This is too hard. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. And Las Vegas would give you everything you want. And so that's kind of how it played out.
Yeah, and there are similarities here. I tell a lot of the objections we hear here, Brodie, are why should we give $1 billion to billionaires? And I get that. I totally get that. I'm very much in that, I went on a whole spiel the other day about billionaires. I think they should pay their, Jeff Bezos should pay his employees a hell of a lot more and not keep all the money. I get all that sentiment. But I also get this. These guys can go to 10 other cities, just like the A's did, and get a way better deal. That's how business is done. And if you want to take advantage and be a partner with them and invest and get a lot back in community benefits, there's a deal to be made. If you want to just sit on your ass and go, we're not giving any money to billionaires, we're not doing it. We're just gonna. I don't want them to be enriched. They could do it themselves. Yeah, they can do it themselves. Why would you? There's 10 other cities that'll give you more than $1 billion, probably 2 or 3, if to come do business here. And you're right, Brodie. That's what they did. That's what they did. So you have to make. And I think that was a mistake maybe that the public made in Oakland. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they should have come further.
We're on the same. Yeah, we're on the same page there. You sometimes you got to give something to get something. You're not going to get everything.
And the
for
Rays
free.
need to give up on some things that they're trying to get right now.
Yeah,
they're still in negotiations.
There's the thought of idealism of like, oh, you're going to get some perfect scenario where you don't have to do anything, and the Rays are going to pay for everything. So that's not it. But I think, and I'll just say this: the sticker shock, and we talked about this. The sticker shock of why was this only $600 million for St. Pete and Pinellas County, and now it's $1 billion for us over here in Tampa and Hillsborough County? It went up. The stadium cost went up $1 billion in 12 months. So there's that. And I think there's also the urgency right now of we understand why this needs to happen from the Rays side sooner to get that $150 million. I heard about the initial comments during the legislative session from Florida that, we really need to have this locked in by the end of the month. I just think
they're right. They should be given $150 million in state money if there's no memo of understanding, even if it's non-binding. Well, you got to have something on paper.
How about this? If you could do it and the college needs it regardless. Now, here's the point though. It has to be appropriated the right way. Is this 150 to redo the old aging Hillsborough campus where we heard that the elevators don't work and all?
Right.
Is it to do that, or is it to knock it down and build it over there? I feel like they probably need to spell that out in the language. But the point is you should probably be doing that no matter what. I'll just say it's just a tougher sell to have a new group come in, one that the city and the county don't have an existing relationship with. That's fine, but it's better than the old relationship, right?
Yes, for sure.
It's the amount and it's the timing pressure that I think are just the sticking points here that are causing this friction.
Yeah, and I get that. And I think the amount, now that we look at what Kansas City's doing, $1.9 billion without a roof. We look at what the A's are doing, $2 billion with a roof. So the cost is actually in line with what it costs these days. And by the way, the $1.3 billion in St. Pete, he was never going to build that.
Yeah.
There were never any plans to build it. It was never engineered out and projected. Yeah. That's fantasy land. So I don't think you can use that number as anything that was real.
You're right. The problem is it was kind of like somebody pooping in the pool, right? Like it's just you don't know
it's there. I get
what
it.
do we do? What do we do with that? Like it happened, and not only did it happen, but St. Pete and Pinellas County approved it. Remember? And then the Rays backed out of it. So
anyway. we knew that was going to happen because Stu was never going to come up with his part of the money. That was a given. All right, so we talk about some of and so I want to kind of lean on your experience here in what happened in Oakland, just to tell the people that this is possible. And with all my optimism, and there's a framework to be done, there's still some very open questions that need to be answered. In your mind, what are the biggest hurdles right now?
I think securing the land, it probably has to start there. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and accuse Rays ownership of not having the funding for their half of things. Like that's so.
They got the money,
but that could be right. You could understand how in some cases, and that was a big question surrounding the A's and the Las Vegas thing, was like, show us that you actually have this, or that you're not going to borrow it from mom and dad or wherever you're going to get it from.
Right.
But so I'm going to put that aside because I think that I would like to think that part is secure, but I think the land deal is the biggest part for me right now. This, and I don't get it, JP, like going to this site, and you said it was a good idea. And here I am, several thousands of miles away, and I'm thinking like there had to have been better opportunities where you're not right next to the other teams who also want money for their stadiums, or they're going to fight you on 6,000 parking spaces that might go away. In reality, this could be a shared resource, but also, the Bucs with their practice facility there and all that empty parking lot. What if they want to develop their own stadium village someday? Now we have competing stadium villages right on either side of the Dale Mabry. Am I right on that? To Dale Mabry, what is it?
You got Dale Mabry Highway. Yeah, Dale Mabry Highway.
Right,
four lanes each way.
Right.
Surface road.
So so the problem is, like, I don't love when I first heard, like, oh, this is the site. I'm like, really? And then the other part is, and I kid you not, like, this is why it all hits close to home. The A's at one point picked some school property land in downtown Oakland. It was owned by the school district. It's kind of like their maintenance yard right next to downtown. And the A's literally announced, it was called the Peralta site. You can look it up. They did a whole thing and had renderings. They're like, we're going to build at the Peralta site. We're going to get this land from the city of Oakland. And the school district was like, excuse me? You didn't actually even ask us for this. And you went ahead and announced this. And I'm like, so when the Rays do the school thing, I'm like, okay, I get it. You're going to do a memorandum of understanding with Hillsborough College. And it seems like, and I forget their president's name. I know he's
Dr. Atwater.
Atwater. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, you can tell he's fully invested in this. He's on track. So it's not a matter of can they do it, but the site is difficult because now you got to displace all this stuff. Now you also got to get $150 million from somewhere else. And honestly, if I'm the Rays, I would just say, look, if you really are doing a $2 billion ballpark, I know 150 is not nothing, but if this is the only thing getting in your way on June 1st, if it doesn't come through, just pony it up or find a way to get a loan or find other investors, find something if they're not going to help you out. I know that's not optimal. I know that sets a bad precedent for the rest of the deal, but man, what an olive branch that would be. It's 150. To move the school, right? Is that what it is? Or that's part of it?
And that's state money. Yeah. That's
so I get it. Like, you want it to happen, but are you really going to let this whole thing? So it's the land deal for me. It's complicated. It's out of basically everybody, because now it involves timing. It involves the state approving this. It's so difficult.
Well, I would say this in return. I think and I never even thought of this site, to be honest. And when somebody first brought it up, I said, that's for all the reasons you're talking about. I said, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because I think baseball is an urban game. It should be downtown.
Yeah.
Where people can walk and take their scooters and their e-bikes and everything and go. I think that's better served. And that was Ybor. And I like that site. And then when Ken explained the whole thing to me, I'm like, oh, now I get it. Because it is part of
what did he say? Sorry, what did he say? How did he explain it?
Well, it is somewhat complicated. So I'll try to keep this as simple as possible.
Okay.
It's first of all, it's 120 acres in an urban core, which is ridiculously hard to find. It's not downtown, but it's downtown adjacent, and it's actually right in the middle of downtown. And it also has proven egress in and out for Bucs games. So, but it's 120 acres. And when they went to Atlanta, the first thing the guys in Atlanta said, the only mistake we made was we didn't get enough real estate. So choose a place where you can have at least 100 acres. So what you do is you multiply by at least 2.5 times what the battery is. And we know how successful that has been in terms of, so instead of building 3 million square feet, they can build 8 million square feet of housing and where the money comes in, the condos, the apartments, the businesses. That's where the money is made. That's where the Braves are making so much money. So first of all, the size of that site works perfectly. Second of all, that site, most of it is parking lots, pickleball courts, and tennis courts. Most of it is undeveloped. It's pavement. So, there's only one building there that is recently built that I believe they're going to preserve, and the rest of it is going to move, be a new college. So they basically get the land for free, and it's never been developed, and it wasn't going to be developed because nobody wanted it. It's in a blighted area.
Well, it is a school though. It is a campus though, right? Like it is state owned.
Not. It's like Brodie. I'm telling you,
the full thing
College, it's a dump.
I just meant who owns it. Who actually owns
College? The state owns it.
Yeah, okay.
So the state was like, they were trying to find ways to get funding for Hillsborough College. And they really couldn't come up with a good they just have to gift it to them because you're not getting anything back, really. And there's no investment there, right?
Yeah.
There is with this huge project. So it's like, okay, wait. So we'll give you the land for free. Now you're going to invest $8 to $10 billion and build 8 million square feet. So then we can tax that property and get back, projections are anywhere from $3 to $6 billion over 30 years of taxing 8 million square feet. That does not exist right now. You have to remember that. And it's not property that any developer can develop on unless you bring a baseball team and plop a stadium down that's going to bring in 10 million people a year. Well, now, I understand these are all projections.
Yeah.
But so that's where the brilliance is.
Yeah.
You get a 120 acres in the middle of an urban core. And then in return, you're going to create all of this, and it doesn't cost the taxpayers a dime to create all of this infrastructure, which then is going to create the ad valorem taxes and the sales tax through the activity that comes back to the taxpayer, and you get your money back, your billion back 2, 3, 4, 5-fold, depending on which projections you want to look at. So I agree with you, there's some issues there, which, by the way, where have the Bucs been on this? They could have come in and worked with them. They should have been, Ken Hagan said, I've been asking the Bucs for 5 years, what you going to do? And they still don't have a plan. And their lease is up.
They said they're aware of it.
Aware of it, and we're watching. Okay, well, thanks for playing.
We're monitoring the situation.
Which is weird. That's a whole nother story. Maybe they're selling the team to Jeff Bezos. Who knows?
Well, they're going to want something too. Let me also just tell you this. All of this is so eerily familiar because all of these things that you're saying, I mean, we said that about Howard Terminal. It's not a big piece of land, or even the Coliseum versus Howard Terminal. 100 acres versus 50-something. You could have done anything you wanted on that 100-acre property at the Coliseum site. The other part is, in Oakland, there is the exact same scenario. There's a community college called Laney College. It's right downtown. It's right on the shore of Lake Merritt. I know I made a video on this at some point back in the day because, and my whole idea was this, I kid you not, flip-flop the Coliseum site and Laney College. Build a brand new Laney College over at the Coliseum site. It's got a BART station. It's right off the freeway. It's actually more accessible to people.
Perfect.
And put the stadium where the college is, and they get a new college from all this. So it's crazy that we're coming to that.
You're so smart. You're so smart.
No.
So now you know why it's a perfect site.
No. So I'm only saying it's not perfect just because of the timing and the push and the difficulty of moving these chairs around. But to your point of like, you get a brand new campus out of this. I get it. For a couple years, very inconvenient, not the easiest thing. But if the campus is new and if the campus is more vertical and uses a smaller footprint, then you've got free land that was not being used for anything else. So, no, you don't have to sell me. I am not against the entirety of it. I'm just saying it's more difficult to pull off, right? Sometimes do you go for the dunk or do you go for the layup, Well,
the other part is if you go to Ebor, you got to acquire all that land.
That's an alley-oop. That's not a dunk. That's an alley-oop over there. Yeah.
That's $100 million of very expensive real estate now that you're talking about that you have to go buy or in some ways partner with somebody. And there was some talk of the guy who owned that being part of this group, and that never materialized because probably he wanted a lot more money.
Yeah.
So this deal works in that it's not perfect, to your point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there was an opportunity there for the Bucs and the Rays to work together in the city and the county. I mean, I was even talking about the old Kansas City model. Remember when they had they were going to have the roof slide over the football stadium and the baseball stadium? So we could do that in Tampa. We'll just have the roof slide from the baseball because the Bucs need a roof.
Right.
So do the Rays. We could just share the roof, right? We could just slide it back and forth. That would have worked, right?
How I realized how much I've been covering this is that I was initially making videos years ago I think I was calling it Eber. And then I got so many kinds, Ebor. And then so that's been a running joke on the YouTube channel of like, oh, this guy finally knows Ebor. So he actually now knows what he's talking about. So pronunciation.
Well, listen, so last question, because everybody in my comments is asking, they're mad, and I always tell them, don't get mad at Brodie. He's doing us a service.
No,
we need to hear about what the other side is thinking.
Yeah, there's not even the other side. I told you this the other day. I'm literally like somebody who watched a friend get in a car accident and it wasn't good. And I'm telling you guys, hey, drive safe and wear your seatbelt. That's all I'm saying here. I have long said I have no horse in this race. But, man, I understand what it's like to lose your baseball team. And if I can do anything to prevent what you were saying earlier, that feeling of the aftermath, if I can help prevent that or alert you to some of the pitfalls, then I feel like I'm doing my job. And I know that's not every time what you want to hear. And I know you don't want to even hear Orlando come up. But I'm just telling you, I didn't want to hear Vegas come up. And look where we are.
So. Yeah, they all think you're an Orlando spy and you're pushing everything towards Orlando. You want to answer that directly?
Yeah. Well, I'll show you this.
Mr. John Morgan is actually your dad. I get it.
I'll show you
right?
the stack of money that the Dreamers keep sending me.
Wait, it's next to the stack of the Rays money they keep sending me, right? That's,
you get
I'm
it,
bought and
right?
paid for. Yeah, right.
You get it. Yeah. No, even I've communicated with them, but I think they know. Like I'm telling your story. I'm putting you out there as here's who you are, and that's it. And I don't know if you're going to be able to pull this off. Or how about this? Like, honestly, if you're Patrick Salupski, what do you need the Dreamers for? Like, if you really are going to move the team to Orlando, you're just going to do it on your own. You own the team, right? So, anyway, I get why there are some who maybe just they haven't seen all they haven't read all the chapters of the book, so they don't understand the full backstory here. But trust me, if I can make that very clear here now today for your audience, especially, like, there's a reason I'm coming on with JP. There's a reason why he and I. I think when it really boils down to it, we understand each other and what we're all about.
Well, and I appreciate, and that's why I really want to start with that question, your emotions of what losing this is going to mean to this community. And I wanted our elected officials to hear it from Cal Ripken last night, and I wanted them to hear it from you as you live this and you know it. And they, this is not just about money. It's about so much more than money. Yeah. And I know the money's important, but before you go waste it on something else, which is what you do, well, just spend it on a stadium. I can see
your buddy, but with the potholes, do you know that person?
Yes, I do very well.
So, and I posted that, and I know you responded to it on social, but I wasn't. Here's the thing: he's absolutely not wrong about Oakland because that's $600 million I told you of state and federal grants to fix up Howard Terminal. You know what they've done with that since the A's have left? I'll give you one guess what they've done. Nothing. And so to the point, your problems are not going to go away whether you spend or you don't. But I will say this, if you're going to come up and say, well, we do have $1 billion, but it's not for you, Tampa Bay Rays, it's to fund whatever the main problem is, right, in the region, or we're going to fix 10 other things. We're not going to fund the Rays, but we are going to fix these 10 other things. Okay, but you better do it. And I don't know.
And history tells us
they don't do it. Right.
All right, Brodie. Awesome, man. Thank you for coming on. And all of my Petermans out there that are mad at Brodie, stop it. You see what a good guy he is. You see what he's doing. Lay off. Just subscribe. And all your subscribers, come subscribe to me. I want part of your 100,000. So come on.
Here, I got this in the mail the other day. There we go. It's a real thing. I don't even know what to do with it.
Your YouTube awards. My God.
I don't. You know what? It's their paper. Once you get them, you take a picture with them, and that's it. Then you move.
You don't
on.
even hang them up in your background. At least I'd be putting them on.
I always said I wanted that so bad. I said I would. And now I got it. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't know. I'm just a dude.
You got your tree right there.
Yeah. I'll send you a leaf.
Is that the between two ferns?
No, just one. It's some ferns and some audio equipment. That's
my favorite show. Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Hey, you know what? I also realized you and I, we're so similar. And the last commercial break, you have to worry about hurricanes. We got to worry about earthquakes. Yeah. We're both in Bay areas. We're both fighting to keep baseball teams. So
I need to learn how to fly and get 100,000 subscribers. That's what I need to do.
I know an instructor.
Teach me, man. Thank you, Brodie. Appreciate you, brother. As always.
Pleasure. Yep.
You're a good man.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take another break with all my great sponsors here. So we'll do that on the other side. Ken Ericson, USF softball coach, and Orestes and I interviewed him yesterday, and they're on their way to the regionals in Fayetteville, Arkansas, USF. But we talked about way more than just softball, and he had a great comment on the Rays, etc. You got to listen to this interview. Stick around. Ken Ericson is coming up next. Hey, JP here for Genesis of Tampa and the Murphy Auto Group. I think the best way to experience a business is to use that business, and I just did at Genesis of Tampa. Just bought a GV70, a 2023, and it feels and drives all new. It's an absolutely fantastic car. The technology, the comfort, and the price, absolutely outstanding. Frankly, I never thought I could get into a car like this, but they made me a deal I could not refuse. And I also get the VIP service where you can just drive right up, their pit stop service. They'll top off all the fluids, make sure your air in your tires is good, new wipers if you want them. If you need extended service, they will come to you, bring you a courtesy car, and then bring your car back. What more do you want? The experience was just VIP all the way. And you can get that at Genesis of Tampa. And don't forget, you can get extended warranty, which I did. So I have worry-free miles up to 100,000, and all they do is just take it in. Actually, I don't have to take it in. They come to me. It's perfect. It's Genesis of Tampa right there, 801 East Bears Avenue, right off of 275. Go see them and tell them JP sent you. As the Rays enjoy being back in their Tropicana Field home this season that was ravaged by Hurricane Milton, Italiano Insurance wants to remind us all how important it is to be properly insured. 40% of you are underinsured. That can mean financial disaster. Let the experienced and friendly agents at Italiano shop your policies for the best price and the right coverage. Italiano saved me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year, over $500 on our homeowners insurance. They can do the same for you. That's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Cost less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with our all-star agents at Italiano Insurance, or call our Boca Grande office at 941-964-0400. It's Diamond Days at the Golden Diamond Source. Celebrate April's birthstone, which is diamonds, as they take center stage. Up to 20% off the diamond jewelry throughout the month of April. And don't forget, you could trade in your broken or old jewelry towards something new and beautiful. Gold prices are at a record high. Now is the best time. And by the way, they only sell natural diamonds at the Golden Diamond Source. It's real love. It should be real natural diamonds. Don't start your relationship with a fake diamond. Really, really bad idea. And for the Golden Diamond Source first-time buyers, they are going to teach you all about the 4 C's and all the different shapes and styles. They are able to show you a huge selection of inventory to choose from. And by the way, you can trust them. They've been in business for over 40 years. Don't buy something online. You have no idea what you're getting. 0% financing for up to 5 years. Make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond. 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldendiamond.com. Hey guys, you already know that Riveters is the best sports bar in all of Tampa Bay, but now it gets even better for Rays baseball season. During all Rays games, check this out, $6 Tito's, $6 Jack, $6 margaritas, all during Rays games. Are you kidding me? And that's always a great pour from the great bartenders at Riveters. Great service, great food, everything is fresh, nothing is frozen. And let me tell you, if you want baseball and wings, you will not find any better than Riveters. Their sauces, like the blue cheese and the ranch, and everything is handmade, and the wings are big, and they're perfect. Wings, baseball, Rays, Riveters. It all comes together during baseball season. Once again, in addition to all the great food and service, you get $6 Tito's, $6 Jacks, $6 margaritas. It's time to celebrate. Baseball season is back, and celebrate at Riveters. You know where it is, right there on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of the stadium. See you there at Riveters. Pitch Roofing believes giving back is part of doing business the right way. That's why they proudly offer exclusive discounts to those who gave the most to our communities, including veterans, first responders, seniors, and teachers. And for listeners of the JP Peterson Show, there's even more good news. Pitch Roofing is now offering a special discount just for fans of the show. With so many roofing companies coming and going in Florida, it's important to choose a contractor you can count on long after the job is done, especially when it comes to honoring your warranty. Pitch Roofing is built for the long haul with a reputation for quality, transparency, and standing behind their work. Whether it's a repair or a full replacement, their team delivers honest guidance, quality workmanship, and no high-pressure sales. Call 727-67-PITCH, 727-677-4824, or visit pitchroofing.com to schedule a free estimate.
Pitch roofing, roofing done right.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. JP is bolted, boys and girls. JP is out. He is outie. Audi 500. Let's see if we can take a look at what JP's doing right now. Oh, yeah, he's out. He gone. It's just like JP to leave his own show early, isn't it? However, you are not stuck with me for the next 20 minutes, 18 minutes or so, because JP wanted to run this replay of the Ken Ericson interview that he and Big O did on the Orestes Destrada show. on Monday. Lots of USF softball news, but not just limited to that. They talked about the Tampa Bay Rays new stadium and a lot of other topics. So let's join that if we can, and then I'll be back to take you guys out afterwards. Maybe. 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 Maybe not. I think JP sabotaged me here. Hang on. We're trying it again. We will try it again. JP broke it, you guys. How about that? As we produce on the air here. Might have another option here for us as we produce on the air, as we often do here, to be quite honest with you. We will do it maybe this way. Move that over there. Carry the 1, squiggly line, cosine. And then we... And then I get completely thrown out of the stream. How do you like that? What the hell are we doing here, boys and girls? Good grief. What's happening right now? So, yeah, let's listen to, if we can try it again. Otherwise, you guys are just going to be stuck with me for the next few minutes. By the way, make sure you guys check out From the Rough tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern, as we preview the PGA Championship. Let's try it now.
Talking lots of Rays baseball, but first and foremost, let's welcome in the head coach in his 29th year of the USF softball. We can't say Lady Bulls anymore. Like, can we say that? Are we going with that? I can't keep up. All I know is you guys are kicking ass. The great Ken Ericson is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think that George Carlin would have a blast with Lady Bolts, right? I mean,
that would be great, buddy. I would love that, man. How you doing, Kenny? You getting ready to rock and roll? Another strong season, and how you doing over there at USF? And I know you're getting ready to go on the road.
Yeah, we're doing well. You know, we just had our last practice before we head out tomorrow to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Not a lot of flights going that way, so USF was gracious enough to get us a charter and
nice.
Get a nonstop. Yeah, well, when you're champions, shit happens, right? I mean, it's crazy.
That's right. That's right. And deserved.
Yes.
So conference champions, regular season champions. I think that's the first time USF's done that in the AAC, right? Your 10th conference championship. 29 years. You've been kicking ass there. And I would have to say this is probably one of your best teams as you get to go out to the metropolis that is Fayetteville, Arkansas. What a great tourist destination. But it's all business. It's a business trip, right?
It is. You know, and people don't realize either, you know, when we're coaching with the United States national team or when you're playing pro ball, you go to these towns. It's not going to see the Eiffel Tower. It's not going to see the, you know, Graceland or anything else. It's on the ball field or at the dinner or watching film and this and that. And then, it's a business trip, but they're doing well. You know, they've kept things in perspective. Everything is serious business to them. They enjoy the locker room. They enjoy the dugout. And, you know, if you have those type of things going on, you have a good chance to continue to play the ball for a long time.
Kenny, man, listen, congratulations. First of all, I hope to add greater congratulations as you guys work your way to hopefully, you know, win a college World Series berth and victory. But the winningest coach in the history of USF sports, period, not just softball and all that, but in all of USF sports, 1,181 overall wins, brother. You've been not only a mainstay, but a mentor to so many of those young athletes that you've come through. Just real quickly, you know, what's it been like for you? You played for USF as a baseball player. I remember meeting you, you know, well over 30 years ago back in the day. And it's just been a passion for you to be a part of and being a Bull.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking lots of Rays baseball, but for
in between innings and so forth to reflect on getting better the next time. And if you're a student of the game and you become a teacher, and fortunate enough to become a teacher to pass on the life lessons, you really realize also that this is not world hunger, right? I mean, this is a game, and if you could keep the perspectives and in the moment type of stuff and not let the greatness carry over to the next at bat or let the failures carry to the next at bat, they're life lessons in our sport. And to not be a yeller and not be a screamer, to be a teacher, I think you get a lot more out of young people. And I've just been fortunate enough to be able to recruit smart student athletes, and so athletes can get better and smart athletes can get better faster. And we've kind of not compromised on that situation.
Yeah, and listen, to the point that, even, and I know you stepped away from that after a success you had with USA Baseball, but they, when your country comes a calling and they recognize what kind of coach you are and have been, your program now is, mentioned in the annals of the best, of the best, the Tennessees and those, UCLAs, et cetera. What's the feeling about that and that time that you represented USA?
It's one of those things that I'm sure you had the same type of feeling. You don't realize what you're doing while you're doing it, and at some point later on down the road when I'm sitting at the pool, having my Cuba Libre, with an umbrella in it, right? Then you get to sit back and go, wow, those were pretty cool times. And those were really great people that I met. And, it's kind of funny how full circle comes. You and I have run across each other so many times in the last 35, 40, 45 years. And the people that we hung out with, Lorenzo Fernandez, Ralph Galley, Tom Tagliarini, Jerry Camellas, Layla Brado, all those guys, they took me in down here in Tampa when I moved down from New York, and I've never forgotten that. And JP and I have talked about this many times. We're Tampa's people, and I have opportunities to go elsewhere, but guess where we always end up, flying back into the airport and going, man, do we have the greatest place to live? And me not having to travel from job to job to job and be in my hometown and to coach at my alma mater is once again, I'll reflect on it one day and go, holy smokes, there wasn't a luckier guy in the world.
Yeah, Ken, and you've become an institution here, the winningest coach at USF, and your this program that you've built is incredible. The sustainability that you've had, and now you got a team that's one of the better teams you've had. Talk a little bit about your players. Annie Long, pitcher or player of the year in the conference. She pitched a one hitter in the championship game to get you guys into the regional. Tell me a little bit about her.
She's very consistent, and when she found the aspect of letting the game come to her and now pick an opportunity when you're pitching to go after what you feel you can get a guy out on, not what just the scouting report says, but how you feel that day, it's been really important. And for a young person to understand that is really mature. Instead of staying on black and white on the paper and going, hey, this guy doesn't hit the high inside fastball. Well, today he might, right? So you have to get creative. Right. And so we allow our players to be creative, and Annie's taking it to a different level. And so for her being a Florida girl, being here where her parents can come watch her pitch every weekend, and so forth, she's found a comfort zone right now earlier than I would expect. And, when you get college student athletes, you hope that by the time they're juniors, they have some wherewithal. This kid's a sophomore, and she found it midway through her sophomore year. So we're very, very fortunate for her future.
What's been the other aspects of your team this year? Softball being such a the reason I love watching, especially honestly, is playoff time. It's almost for me, college, the playoffs, the regionals, and sectionals, the regionals, and obviously the finals of the College World Series. It's almost, to me, honestly, it's like the way I look at the NBA season and the NHL season. I enjoy watching the playoffs of it, right? Yeah. And it's where it counts, and it's so competitive, so intense. But give me a take on the beauty of softball and how well, you have to be on all aspects of the game. This isn't just, sometimes you get that dominating pitcher like Annie is, but the other aspects of the game, what other parts of your game this year has been so successful?
The execution part, and people have gotten away from. I actually talked to Carlos Mendoza with the Mets last year, and I asked him and David Stearns.
Interesting.
How come you guys don't bunt the guy over in the 10th inning with a runner at second base and nobody out? And they both looked at each other and smiled. And Carlos turns to me and goes, because we can't. And I'm like,
wow.
Right.
Nobody knows how to
bunt.
What
a true answer.
Right.
What an honest answer, Ken.
And it was. And then, he was like, but rest assured, that the owner and Stearns are putting a lot of money into get back to the basics of the game. And you see every year when you get to the major leagues in the World Series and the playoffs, when you need a bunt, they can't get it done. Look, for us, you have to enjoy the relentless repetitiveness of skill set work. And our girls are, I'm not going to say they're idiot savants, man, but when they get on the ball field, all the noise is cut out and they're going to stay there until they get the bunt down, in the fall until they get it right. And then so come the season, it's not difficult, hit behind a runner at second base with nobody out, right? You do those type of things it takes to win, and it's about scoring runs. It's not about hitting home runs all the time. Because when you face the best pitching, they're not going to allow you to hit a home run, right?
Right.
So the aspect of get them on, get them over, get them in. If you buy into that, we can go a long way.
Yeah, and also, very hard to turn double plays in the softball level with the speed that some of the players have, and all throughout the collegiate ranks. You guys can do that well. I want you to just. Because, we're seeing a phenomenon right now with the 27-13 Rays, and they're playing like softball, basically, if you think about it. They've got a little bit of pop, but they're low ranked in home runs. That's the one thing that they're, I think they're 27th, 28th, something like that in home runs. But, man, do they do all the other little things well. Were you watching them this year? Does it kind of make you feel like, wow, they're playing like we do? When we're at our best.
Yeah, they're playing like us.
Mm-hmm. They really are.
Yeah, and so you're correct. I mean, that is the pure baseball part of it. Like, that's sustainable. Like, you're going to find a guy that's going to come up and hit 48 to 50 home runs, or if they're all solo shots, like, who cares, right? But for us, it's can you get on with the walk? Can you get on with the single? Can you get on with the bunt for single? And then can you drive them in, with a sacrifice fly or those type of things? And so you have to teach sometimes. This is the way the game is played. When it was invented, it was so perfect, right? Like, you got to be kidding me. You got 4 people in the infield and the 3 outfielders in between them in those slots. And then 90 feet for baseball, 60 feet for fast pitch softball. It's a pure game. I mean, I don't know who the genius was to do it, but so you coach and you teach to play against the game. You don't play against the other opponent, right? And so that's where we've been very consistent, in trying to make sure we take the noise and all the external things out and all the different colors, and we try to stay, green and gold the whole time, no matter who we play.
So what you're telling me is Kevin Cash has been consulting you. That's what you're telling me.
Not Carlos, not Mendoza.
You and Cashy having conversations about get him over, get him in?
Yeah, but Cashy was brought up in Tampa, right?
That's right.
There you go.
So I hate to say it, right? But look, you got to feel for Mendoza. I mean, who knew that Lindor, Soto, the arms, and all this were going to go down the tubes? But they'll be fine. They got too much talent, and the guy's too smart, to not have this. This will end soon for those guys.
Well, you know what? We've talked about it just in the last couple of weeks when we were covering the Rays. The key word that you just said, and it's so important in baseball, is sustainability. Yeah. And when you are executing in all those different aspects, obviously pitching well, defense, popping some jacks, but if you're doing all that, and here's one thing I want to ask you. I mean, when you're talking hitting, and you were a hitter, Kenny, I'm seeing guys for the Rays, and I'm sure you're getting it from your Bulls. Up the middle, man. You hitting a softball, I don't think people realize fast pitch softball is so damn hard. Just was at an event recently with Michelle Smith, and she laughed at me again because I had a bat with her years ago at a charity game where she just embarrassed me. I fouled off a couple fastballs and she threw me that changeup, and I just almost pretty much spun into the ground. So hitting up the middle. We're seeing it with Aranda. We're seeing it with all these. What's your teaching as far as offensively for your team in order to put up record numbers?
Yeah, you're asking a great question. When I transitioned over and played with the Clearwater Bombers for 13 years and played out in Salt Lake City and then came back here and played men's fast pitch, the pitch was 46 feet away throwing 88 miles an hour. That's unbelievable in relationship to probably 101, 102. So minimizing movement in the lower half, making sure the head stays as quiet as possible, a la George Brett, right? And throw the barrel at the ball, but not let your arms get away from you. So the simplicity of just take the barrel to the ball, stop swinging, stay connected, get the barrel there. Don't worry about the finish and the follow through, because if you square it up, it goes, and so the simple part of an approach, because when you once again, because as we go on to the postseason, which we're doing right now, pitching is going to be better, late breaking movement, velocity. So you have to counteract that with least amount of movement in the lower half, right? And then to your point about driving the middle and seeing the middle is if you can get your hitters not to outrace the collision, right? And make sure that, the barrel opens you up, you don't open up the barrel, right? And those type of languages, you understand what I'm talking about, but a lot of people don't. See, that's the key factor. It's letting slow the shoulders down. And just stay connected with your, front side of your front arm, inside part of your thighs, and work around your spine. Once again, simple approach to hitting, but make sure you're getting the barrel to the ball.
All right, a little bit more about your team, Coach, if you would. Kathy Garcia Soto, Player of the Year in the conference.
Wow.
You got some talent here. You're going to Arkansas, which normally you get sent to Gainesville and Tallahassee, right? So is this going to – it won't be easier, right? I know that it'll be crazy out there.
No.
But does it give you a little bit more sense of maybe something different and your team can maybe get out of this regional? Give us a little scouting report.
Well, you always want to play the best across the country and especially in the postseason. And so, last couple of years going to Tallahassee or Gainesville, Tallahassee or Gainesville, Tallahassee or Gainesville, you're playing the same 2 or 3 teams every year in a regional, and you really don't know. And we've come out of there and gone to the super regionals a couple of times in the World Series. So, it's good, but the college experience is to go out and play teams that you hear about. It's kind of like if you're in the National League and you're in the East Coast, man, when you go out to LA and you go out to Seattle, and you play those guys, you don't see them all the time. And so to experience that's a big deal. And then to show them that, you actually do belong, with the upper pantheon of the game. And so that's really good for our program. And once again, you get a primetime game on Friday night against the University of Washington. The whole country is going to see it, just like last year when we beat Auburn, on a primetime game. So USF is getting that nationwide type of stuff right now. But once again, I think you guys know me well enough to know the players have done such a good job of keeping it steady and doing the things that they do. But what you already brought up Kathy Garcia's name, Tampa, right? Yep. Olivia Elliott, leadoff batter, Tampa. Alex Wilkes, Tampa. Jocelyn Wilkes, Tampa. It's so cool to see the kids now going, oh my gosh, why am I looking out of state? Why am I looking out of my Bay Area where I can now bring a championship back home? And so it's really cool to see that kind of stuff happening right now.
Yeah, I want to ask you as far as how you manage, because you've managed obviously at the baseball level with the Bombers and manage a high level college softball game, especially the impact games of the regional, super regionals, and the College World Series. Does your approach change, or what is key for you that you're trying to look for your team?
They're on autopilot right now. I think we do a lot of our work in spring training, right? The fall. You've got 8 to 10 weeks in the fall to train and set up how you want the season to begin. And then you come back for 6 weeks in January to set it up and reaffirm what you're doing. And then once the games start, why get in their head? You're just a teacher and a maintenance teacher at that point. And right now in the postseason, less is more. You want to be able to keep that acre between the ears, completely clear because a full mind is an empty bat and you can't play. And I want these kids to go out there and not be robots. I need them to be creative within the system. And we talk about that all the time. And so you'll never see, us overburdening them. And I think that's why we've had so much success with 3-star players that get to 4-star players in the postseason because we're allowing them to play. And this is a good message for young coaches and young players, and parents. Like, if your kid is in 3rd, 4th grade and they're learning mathematics or algebra or whatever, and they don't get the problem right, do you want your teacher yelling at the kid? That doesn't make any sense. So why is it different in sport? Why is it different in our game? And our game is difficult. And it's so funny to me, you brought up facing Michelle Smith. There was a parent, this was about 20 years ago. He was just brutal to his daughter. And I went, you know how tough this game is? He goes, it's not that tough. I go, grab a bat.
Nice. I love it.
He
Get up there.
He didn't touch me. And there was a different appreciation for what was going on, right? And then I did throw him a cambio, right? I mean, boom, spun him in the ground. Oh, yeah. I think he pulled 2 ribs and a groin. It was funny as heck, right? So, but
Ken,
that's what people don't get.
Let me get you out on this because I know you got.
You finished that, but I got one other question before you go in. So, man, listen. You're pumping me up, man, Kenny. I hadn't talked to you in a while. The way that the energy and the thought patterns. Here's what I'm thinking for the New Yorker, the original New Yorker, but the Tampa hometown kid. If Tony Vitello went to the Giants, I think the Mets should change and bring in Kenny Ericson to manage the New York Mets.
Can't be worse.
Come on now, bro. Bring it back. Bring the Met.
Full mind is an empty bat. I love that. I'm putting that up in the studio.
That is a great line, by the way.
Great line.
Yeah. Bring back the Mets to their greatness, man. What happened?
Yeah. Well, they'll be there. Like you said, there's things you can't.
You can tell he's a Met fan, by the way.
Well, there's things you can't control. But the one thing I'll tell you is that any press conference, I'll give it right back to you.
Yeah, there you go.
I love this guy.
So I wanted to get you out on this. Obviously, there's a huge talk in this town about Tampa and the Rays building this stadium, which, we've been talking about this a lot. And it's going to be home not only for our baseball team, but it's the core of baseball and the culture. And I include softball as interchangeable in that. You go out in this community, better than anybody. Every girl is playing softball. Almost every girl grows up with the opportunity. They may not stick with it, but they play at some point. And this with the boys too. It's like a rite of passage. At some point, you're going to go play t-ball, and if you like it, you're going to keep playing. It's part of what we do. And this new group wants to build this home in the middle of Tampa, where we're going to bring in softball teams. We're going to bring in baseball teams. We're going to bring everybody back together and celebrate this culture on a daily basis in this beautiful, iconic place. And it's going to be home for all of us. And I know you're not a New Yorker anymore. You're a Tampanian, just like me. I'm not a South Florida guy anymore. This is my home.
That's true. Me too.
Where are you at with this? If you could talk to the people and say how important this is, not just for the Rays and spend a little bit of money, but it's bringing the community together in such an incredible way. What would you say to them?
The pride that every one of us has that lives here to begin with is huge. But that sport that we've played, that bat and ball sport that goes back before Al Lopez got involved with the pros. I'm getting goosebumps talking to you. The history that Rick Vaughn writes about, and that brought Ybor City together in baseball and fast pitch softball. The Clearwater Bombers, the Tampa Smokers, and all those type of things, that our threads go deeper than any other community outside of the major cities of Chicago and New York, okay, and St. Louis. Those were baseball towns. Those towns are so prideful in what they do with baseball. But nobody has more pride and roots that go deeper to each community and each cultural community of the Tampa area. Okay. And then think about the connections that we have here down to Puerto Rico and then Cuba and all those type of things, that those guys came in here and were part of the cigar deals and everything else. Mm-hmm. That place should be a mecca of culture in our city for years and years and years to come, for both men and women that played the bat and ball game.
Well put, buddy.
That was gorgeous.
That was awesome.
In fact, I'm going to send that over to the new Rays owners and they're going to see that, and it's going to get some play, big time. That was very well said.
More importantly, send it to the city council.
Yeah, Charlie Miranda's going to see that.
They need to see it.
Kenny, listen, thank you for your time. Good luck in Fayetteville. Go get them. Bring us back another championship so you can keep this roll going. I love the fact that you got so many local players on this team, and it's just it's wonderful. It's a great community asset. And you're the best. We appreciate you. Hall of Famer, Tampa Sports Club Hall of Famer, Ken Ericson, right there.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
Yeah. All right.
Good luck, buddy.